Hey, Koala Collective, it's Claire, the Intuitive Reader. I prepared this entire reading, and then I realized, the reason I started this channel is because I felt like there were a lot of people that were alone out there that were feeling like they didn't have the answers and they didn't know what they were. And it was lonely out there. We were coming out of a pandemic with a lot of people claiming that it wasn't even real. So all these people got sick, all this stuff happened, people passed away, our entire society changed. But one thing that I did notice that was a positive during the pandemic was that people were less concerned about things, about wearing makeup, about how they looked. We were really getting out of that diet culture. We were getting out of that negative self-talk. We were accepting the fact that we were just grateful to be alive, and that that was what was the most important, like being there for each other, but we couldn't actually physically be there for each other, so we had to figure out other ways. We went online, we did all these things, and when we moved into that, it started giving other humans, like there was a huge scary time, but there was also a time of coming together as we shared one thing. We were human beings and we could get COVID, we could get these things, and that made us all connected. It didn't matter what walk of life you were in, it didn't matter anything, eventually they realized that it wasn't just compromised individuals, it was everybody. I mean, so we kind of were all in the same boat. So we were less judgmental of each other while being scared to even be around each other. But since then, there has been this carryover of the fear that we felt about a virus. And now it's about everything. We're afraid of each other. We're afraid of, so it's almost like people are creating this sense of fear by perpetuating that so that they can feel comfortable, because they won't deal with the PTSD and that they've developed because of a worldwide pandemic. So there's kind of this disconnect. So I was getting a lot about, that people are still, so I like I said, I started this channel because I could see that there were a lot of people feeling like that. And since then, I love technology, but AI has been used in a way to keep us even further from each other now. So when you go online, it feels almost like a drain. When I'm looking for videos or content or information myself, I feel very taxed and exhausted by the time I'm done. It feels like I lost something, versus, because I can't really find the essence of human beings. All I'm finding is that AI, which isn't a human being, you can even ask ChatGPT, like, does a chat program really understand what human beings want or what resonates with us? And so the frequency is being lost, that connection to each other is being lost more and more. It's being kind of controlled so that we perpetuate this fear. It creates like this endless cycle of fear, when in reality, I hate to tell everybody this, but things are not they're not worse than they were before. When we're in the middle of a pandemic, and then, just being in the same air as someone could be the end of your life, or, you couldn't even have people there while you were having a baby, or when people were passing away, and they couldn't get help. That was real fear. And right now, what we're doing is we're being exposed to manufactured fear. This is the new propaganda. This is the new way to keep us under control in the masses. And, I come on here because I feel that. I feel this kind of confusion and tension and dissatisfaction. And, I want to come on here and try to be a genuine person, meet other people, connect with people, and share a gift that I have, one that I have not, embraced because of that fear of retribution. I'm a psychic medium. I see things, I move things, I have, telepathy. I have telekinesis. I have all these different clairs, and I know there's other people out there, and instead they're afraid to tell anyone because they'll look crazy if they don't, experience things the way everyone else does. They are nuts. And I think that the truth is a lot of us experience things. I mean, things like the telepathy tapes. I have taken care of children my entire life. That's been my goal, to be a mother, to be a caregiver, to be a teacher. And, children don't have the vocabulary or often even ever, words to express the way they're feeling, but they get their point across. And so this idea that we've intellectualized our feelings to the point where you have to understand or think about it or put words to it, when in reality the actual true connection is this invisible electricity. We all have an electromagnetic field. And when you realize how powerful that is, like when you can go into a room and change the very way people are feeling. I'm trying to connect with those people out there that are struggling because they feel like that is being treated like they're an oddity. I really felt we made huge strides during the pandemic for spirituality, for self-acceptance, for acceptance that we're all in the same boat because we're human beings, and all these things that were being mass produced and told that we need to do. It feels very concerning to me that the ultra thin, ultra made up plastic surgery, fillers, all these things are coming back in such a strong way because we're in person. When we were not in person, we accepted ourselves because it was just like, oh, okay, this is who we are. We are human beings. These trappings that we put on ourselves are costumes, are personas. And it's kind of concerning to me that that's coming back, because that really interferes with people's mental well-being and who they are as people. So let's see what we get. Optimism, exactly. I mean, I think we all need to acknowledge that we survived. The pandemic has officially ended, but we're still struggling with all these different viruses. And I think, at least in my country, where they're deregulating vaccines, and even something as vital as, I think it's hepatitis B vaccines in infants, that is terrifying, because it feels like our governments they realized that they could create a sense of panic and fear by getting us sick. And so then that makes us easy to control. So if you take away the vaccines, if you put poisons in our foods, if you put microplastics in every single thing, it's affecting our brains. We therefore have this perpetual thing of not feeling well. And as human beings, we create reasons why we don't feel well. So we create these situations where it's like, oh, I don't feel well. I don't feel right. Something feels wrong. Therefore, it must be this, this, this. If I do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to feel better. If I buy this product, if I wear this thing, if I alter my face, if I alter my body, if I don't accept myself, if I it must be that I need to be with somebody more exciting, or, this is wrong. I've got to change something externally because of this fear that's being transmuted to us through the environment. That's when we're not feeling grounded. That's when we're not accepting ourselves, because we all survived. Those of us that are not here anymore, they aren't here, but we did survive. We just survived what I would consider a war. It was a war for survival. And there was a lot of use of, science to attack people, to say, well, God, you're paranoid. It's just like, when did washing your hands? And, in other countries, they wear masks. If you're sick, Why are you around other people sneezing and stuff? That's just rude. So it's just like this idea that having social standards is an issue. But I also saw that there was this beautiful optimism that came out of the pandemic. It created that, like here, even this music right here. People were having porch concerts. People were having mini desk concerts. They were reaching out. You could connect with, like in this collective, we are scattered far and wide, and because we don't really connect with the people close to us. But as our internet world, our social media world gets more and more controlled by all these bots and AI algorithms and restrictions and clickbait and trolls and psyops and stuff like that, we get more and more isolated again. And then we start looking to ourselves as the problem versus the fact that we're being isolated. So I want to make sure, like, I'm really encouraging everyone, if you're not connecting with people in your current environment, there still is space. There still are people out there that are going to connect with you. And I don't want you to feel alone, because it does feel really alone right now. I don't know if other people are feeling that way. Like, I think the pandemic also, the devil, and at the bottom, the Seven of Wands. So there's a lot of like, keep working, and you're trying to get away from, society, and the collective here is trying to get away from this devil energy. And it doesn't want me to say this stuff because my throat's closing up all of a sudden. And I never noticed this. There's all these people on the bottom here, and they're like bent over. There's just hands and stuff. And I was getting a lot of that, hands and limbs and stuff like that, getting into your selfish energy again, your selfish way of being. Like, we can, as human beings, we get very stuck on ourselves, on our carnal desires, on this, that, and the other. And we toil away, and then we're like, oh, we deserve to, do all this. We deserve to imbibe in our guilty pleasures. But that never satisfies us. And we end up being outside in the cold, feeling like we can't even connect anymore because we've given into those things. And then we feel guilty, and then it turns into a spiral of self-hatred and, abuse. But we have to remember that when we were kids, that's so funny, the Six of Cups, when we were kids, we would like literally wish upon stars, see a rainbow, and want to follow it to get to the pot of gold. And I've been seeing a lot of rainbows. But, our society and those around us are not, every time we get close to that place of that star energy of the rebellion, there's all this conflict, and it's fake. It's fake conflict. It's faked fear. It's like constantly telling you there's something to be afraid of. So let's see what I get from the cards, because I've been talking for a while, but I thought it was important. Yeah, the Ten of Wands. See, I love this Ten of Wands card because I relate to this so much. If you've checked my posts, I have 2 black cats, and one of them, she's always tripping me. I'll be trying to get things done, and she shows up and she walks right in front of my feet. Trips me on a regular basis, but only when I'm doing things like I'm working too hard. I'm not paying attention to the immediate moment. I'm paying attention to where I want to get. I'm not carrying things or doing things in a constructive way. And so she kind of reminds me all the time by tripping me, which isn't fun. She's a great cat. She's so not, like one of the cats that I've ever had that is just so, she doesn't cause any problems. She's obsessed with food, but, she just, when she trips me like that, it's a reminder to me, hey, get back in the game. You are like only focused on doing. You are not focused on being. And I think we got a lot of, And so we're finally moving up the staircase. You know, it's like we're leaving all this stuff and these tensions and these emotions and these burdens behind, but we think it's going to be an easy thing, an easy task. We thought it wouldn't be easy. I think when we all survived the pandemic, we were like, oh, this is going to be easy. Now I can just leave this stuff behind. Maybe there were coping mechanisms or things you did during the pandemic that you have stopped doing. And now you're going, you're realizing that you have to go all the way up all these stairs to get to your higher mind. Like each step needs to be focused on. If you are focusing on other things, you're going to fall. Can you imagine carrying these 10 sticks up here like this, these 10 wands up all these stairs? Instead, really focusing on what's really important to you. Is, being considered attractive, or, oh my gosh, and you guys got this in the other deck, the Five of Pentacles, being out in the cold, and there's another animal. So a lot of people did, and maybe that's coming up too. A lot of people got animals, plants, hobbies, things they were working on, creative projects, and they were working on them because we couldn't go anywhere. And so you had to focus on what was simple. You couldn't travel, you couldn't, go out to restaurants. You had to learn to do things and be more self-sufficient and, rely on those around us. And we couldn't really get anything from far away. Everything was shut down. And instead of being like, oh, my life's worse, we realized we were saving money. We realized that we needed to be a community and work together and provide for our neighbors. And if our neighbors were safe, we were safer. And so, but we've really gotten kind of defensive. Oh, and this just popped out, the Four of Wands, and I kept getting something about a white wedding. See, this is very interesting because, see, there's the Four of Wands, but there's no people on this cake. So it's like we created this world during the pandemic that we have now left. And we've left it, and it was a happy place. And we were acting like, oh yeah, it's totally happy. I'm totally happy. I'm totally happy. But meanwhile, as soon as the pandemic ended, as soon as we had the ability, we went back to the same habits and patterns that we had done before. So let's see. Oh, that's interesting. Some of these are upside down. I don't know how that happened. Let's see what comes out. Anger. Yeah, and hey, look, I'm not going to glamorize the pandemic because a lot of people were stuck in situations that were dangerous, were not good for our highest and greatest good. But it got us to be creative on how we were going to get out of those situations. And then a lot of people's relationships didn't survive after that, after they were able to leave and, see like, oh, being stuck with you was not a happy life. But if you're still there in that situation, oh, see, marriage journey. So yeah, some people left marriages. I kept getting stuff about that, like, oh, maybe they made the best of things, and now that everything is getting back to normal, that people are leaving marriages, leaving relationships, leaving family dynamics. But what are they replacing it with? Like, it's fine if you do not resonate with people anymore, but you can't just be alone all the time. That was very destructive during the pandemic. So let's see. Miracles, release attachments, and detach. Exactly. So if things are not working for you, why are you perpetuating the same thing that you were doing before? You learned during the pandemic that whatever was in your life wasn't working for you. It had to go because it just couldn't exist. And what's the point of doing this and that? And we realized that we could interact in a very productive way with different people from across the globe. And now we've gotten very, much more centralized and isolated. It's making you guys feel depleted. So it's time to release the attachments that you maybe created out of necessity. And because once you release those attachments, miracles can come in. That seems to be the only way that they can come in. If you're holding on to things that don't work for you anymore, yeah, a lot of us are in denial too. Here, I'll show it this way. Denial. And this is like reddish orange energy. So the root of who we are, we're in denial that our lives were not satisfying to us. So now we're using, maybe, some of you or some of the people around you developed really unhealthy habits, drinking, smoking, eating, judgment, and we're kind of in denial that these things may have helped us survive a very difficult situation, but they brought up places that we need to work on and not go back into just because we can't. Really focusing right now on our inner child, and the inner child, and this is the heart space. I feel like a lot of people, since they've been in this place, they are not in their heart anymore. They're not seeing people as like that global community, because honestly, when you're all in the same boat, it makes it really hard to separate just based on things like looks or education or a language. When you in fact are all in the same boat, you start realizing how closely connected we all are. We're not very different. Just like I was talking about with children, they don't have the words, the vocabulary, so therefore they have to express themselves in this certain, like in any way they can to get their point across. And that goes across all cultures, races, all over the world. So we are not as different as we are being made to feel. That fear is what they're using to control us. And if we let that happen, then that's really on us. But we need to start using some of the techniques we used instead of changing them into, people are getting really depressed again. Like they're feeling like they have to look like, Barbie dolls and Ken and all these like very plasticky uniform people who don't have any facial expression, don't have any wrinkles, don't have any parts that aren't just perfect. And if you have that, then why don't you fix it? What's wrong with you? And I really enjoyed during the pandemic that people stopped caring about that, because honestly, at the end of the day, who cares if you have wrinkles or cellulite or, you don't have a six-pack or, a chiseled jaw and you're mewing and doing all these weird things and putting fillers and, personally, I have a huge issue with people using Botox because it's a toxin. It's a poison. I have severe migraines, like debilitating migraines, like to the point where I've been hospitalized for them and had to go under great treatments. I had to get Botox. I hated it. I hated it because I could feel the poison. And people are doing that now and thinking that's a positive thing. Like, oh, my face doesn't move. I'm an android. And who wants to look at that? That is so boring. But for a while, YouTube was this incredible thing, this great way to connect with other people. Like, oh, I relate to you, you relate to me. And now it's the same thing. It's all clickbait, rage, PORN. I'm worried if I say that word out loud. Like just all this disgustingness. And it's just like, I don't think a lot of people are attracted to that. That's why, they're isolating us, because the more they fill it up with all these things, the more they push us back into our little buckets of feeling alone, of feeling that we're the problem because other people aren't expressing it. You know, I had a huge problem coming on for a while because, you know, I kept getting subconjunctival hemorrhages in my eye. So my eye looked like, so like I had one in each eye a month apart. I was just like, what? And I had shingles, and I have to take steroids, so it makes me puffy. And I'm just like, oh, you know, do I really want to face the world? Do I really want people to see the ugly, the fact that, you know, I've gotten shingles like 9-10 times. I don't know at this point because I get it so often. And, you know, I get the entire like blistering across my face and my neck and my eye and, you know, other places in my body. And it's like you know, why I want to hide, because our society has taught us to be self-conscious, to, unless we're perfect, which whatever that is, we should be, you know, hide ourselves away. You know, the fact that I look like a typical white American woman that with no problems and stuff, so why would you want to listen to me? It was just like, I haven't shared as much of myself over the last few years. And I think that's the authenticity that I miss in so much of the social media networks right now. So, you know, don't lose hope. Don't stop looking for your soul collective. For if it's not me, there are other people out there. But don't give up, because when you do, they win. You know, and we can't keep, it's almost like we're teenagers and we have a very messed up family life with, you know, parents that aren't, and siblings that aren't cool, and that is our environment, that is our government, that is our you know, it's difficult to constantly see that things that should be no-brainers, like you don't do things to children. I mean, why are we even discussing this? This is like, no, like we all know that. We know what's right and wrong. I mean, you know that when you're like 4 years old, right and wrong, a lie and the truth. I mean, why are we discussing this? This is a no-brainer. These things are no-brainers. We don't hurt other people. We don't say horrible things. We don't judge people just because, you know, we can. It's just like, we need to get back to a place of our collective love of this incredible planet. This, I mean, really, honestly, if you're losing touch with that, all you have to look at what is that called? There's this, it's like similar to a cabbage. What is it called? It starts with an R, but it's like similar to a cabbage and broccoli together, and it's just fractals. And I'm like, my God, this is just growing. This is the most intricate thing. It is gorgeous and beautiful. You know, go look at a flower. I mean, how can all these flowers have all the same, you know, structure, and they're so complicated? But, you know, this planet isn't the most amazing, miraculous thing ever. So yeah, I think we need to get back to basics. I mean, I was going to draw some more cards, but I think I'm on a talking psychic download thing. Yeah, we need to work on our bonds again. Like, what are we need to be bonding over our shared experiences, our shared humanity. We are all human, and it doesn't matter what we look like, you know, what corner of the globe we're from. We have a shared unity, and it's not what we think it is sometimes. It's not what we're told it is. It's not about the propaganda. It's not about feeling sad or being scared all the time. This fear, this like, it's an invasive species of, you know, fear that they're feeding us, so that we will pull ourselves apart. And when we do that, we will pull others apart, and we will not bond together and realize that this is all, you know, because we're not able to communicate with each other. If they get in the way of us communicating, then they can stop us from bonding together, from being, teamwork. Exactly. So if we all realize there's more of us than there is of them, we can keep ourselves safe. But we've got to communicate. We've got to work together. And I mean, I love you guys. I'm so grateful for this collective, this channel, but I've noticed that people are getting further and further apart. They're not communicating as much. They're not coming together. And I don't know how to fix it myself. I think we're all going to have to come together and decide enough is enough. That we're going to take our human race back and realize that we have more in common than we have differences. And the differences we have are amazing, because I really do think it's insane to hate a group of people and not want them a part of your life, but you'll use their spices, you use their music, their art, their literature, their practices. Meanwhile, you hate them. I mean, how hypocritical is it to eat some food from a different culture and be like, this is incredible, but I hate you. I hate your group of people. That's insane. That's a cognitive dissonance. It's basically a neuroses of our society. And I think we can all work together and get out of this and be excited again. Be excited that we don't have to be in a place of being different. We can actually love each individual person for what they bring to the table. And, I'm going to just cut it right there and say, certain things are wrong. And you know what they are. And all these people in power know what they are. I don't need to debate with you that subjugating people, abusing people, moving around people, selling people, is something we need to discuss. That's accepted. It's like accepted that we now know there's germs. So when you wash your hands, you are killing those germs so that you don't get sick or give someone else an illness. Like, we need to stop fighting about or arguing or even giving a moment's energy to things that are ridiculous. They're established. We know they are, and we're not going to keep repeating and defending. We're just going to go, that's stupid. I wouldn't let a child argue with me that they don't need to wash their hands. I wouldn't let a child argue with me that it's okay to hurt someone. It's not. So just the insanity of even giving energy to things that are not for our best and highest good. So is there any last message I'm going to see? Like, all this is, we're doing a lot of projection, and they're trying to project on us all this stuff, and it's causing stress. And stress, I'm going to tell you, I have a condition called adrenal insufficiency. It's the same as Addison's disease, except that's genetic. And JFK had Addison's disease. It literally, if you can't handle stress, if you have too much stress, that will end you faster than anything. So creating stress in animals changes their pH balance. It changes how they metabolize food, absorb sunlight, everything. So the more that they can stress us out, the more that they can win, the more that they can keep us down, the more that we just can't get up. And then they reinforce all these ideas that you should be afraid, that person in your that looks slightly different than you is so different. Like, and if you watch dogs, a little teeny dog could be the leader because they are the authority, because they're confident, and a Rottweiler will bow down to them, will concede to them, will not act up. It's just, we are taking such small differences, which are minute, and that's causing us to, repress our self-awareness. Oh my gosh. And that leads us to sublimation. So we submit when we see ourselves as different. nature versus nurture. Oh, wow, this is a whole bunch of stuff coming out. And yeah, the nature versus nurture. Like human beings, human babies and children are amazing. Like if you have lost faith in the human race, go spend some time with little kids. Not like just, like leading them to do things. Watch what they create. Watch what they do. Watch how they interact. Watch how they can walk up to a group of other kids and be like, hey, let's play. And they will be the best of friends. They're not focused on that. But what they learn is to see the differences in each other. And that creates kind of like a fear of other people, a phobia. I kept getting this fear of everything. The more we're afraid, the more they can control us. So you know what the biggest rebellion is? Stop being afraid of everyone. Stop being afraid of everything. Like, really, honestly, that's a learned behavior, and it's keeping you under the control of governments, especially governments, family dynamics, societal constraints. Stop being afraid. You're good enough. You're amazing. You didn't drastically change from age of 4. That's something you learned. That's something you learned to suppress the things that you were told were bad or negative when they were in fact what made you special and unique and an oddball. And, being different isn't a problem. It's what we learn about being different. So, wow, that was a long, talk. But, I'm trying to get comfortable in myself. I love reading tarot. It's great. But my strength is being a psychic medium. I'm a medium. I relate to that. I see things. I hear things. I engage in awareness that not all people have. Maybe it doesn't come as naturally, but also they've been afraid of, they've created a phobia of themselves, of their abilities. And so I'm trying to get back into that. And I'm really, really strong in the channeling, connecting with people that aren't here anymore. And a medium, like, I don't know how else to explain it. It's just that I'm a medium between the different realities, the different dimensions. And I love that. I love that I can come here and share these things with you and things that I get. But I fear the same things you guys fear, and it really does get in the way of that channeling. So I love you guys, and I hope you come back. If you liked this, please like, subscribe, comment, share, turn on the little notification, because I'd love to interact with you guys more. I'm a real person, and flaws and all, and virtues and all, and I want to interact with other real people. I don't want to hear about some story that's not real, that's not, that is created from someone who's sitting at home watching TV all the time, or, or in that fear mindset. I want to interact with other people that want to connect, that want to be closer. And most importantly, I am so grateful for you guys. You guys have turned what was a very small, just dream I had into a reality. And I love you guys so very much. And I look forward to seeing you again. Okay, bye.